Hello and welcome to yet another episode of A Day in Film MiniCast. For personal reasons, this is actually being filmed on the day that you will hopefully be listening to. This is being filmed on Monday, the 30th, sorry. So forgive me if I sound a little rushed and I don't get as detailed as I would normally like to, but I have seen this movie before, and I just don't think you guys are really going to care to hear about my thoughts. But anyway, before we jump into the movie you already know, I would seriously appreciate it if you liked and or subscribed to the channel and the video respectively. It really does mean the world. We are growing at a very steady rate. It's not a huge rate, but at a steady rate, which makes me so unbelievably happy. I hope you guys enjoyed the Megalopolis video, and I'm still so happy you're enjoying the video on the substance. But with that all out of the way, let's get into the movie that you're here to listen to. On the 29th, yesterday, I watched in theaters for Ghibli Fest, Howls Moving Castle with my girlfriend. To summarize the plot, Howl's Moving Castle follows a girl who is turned old by a curse named Sophie, falling in love with a wizard sorcerer named Howl, and he lives in a moving castle. I've seen this one before. I watched it last year during Ghibli Fest, and I gotta say, I think this is one of my it's actually kind of crazy because I really enjoy Hayao Miyazaki's body of work. I love almost every film of his that I've seen. And this movie I often hear is people's favorites. They don't identify it with the most, but they just like it the most. And I have to say, this is definitely not even in my top 5 of Ghibli. And I know that sounds really bad, or at least Hayao Miyazaki. I know that sounds really bad, but I just think that there's so much better out there, and that Howl's Moving Castle, at least to me, is a little too scattered around to really want to hone in on, because you just never feel, or at least I never feel, super invested in these characters because you never get to really meet them. There are little moments, sure, like Calcifer and the little boy who I'm forgetting the name of right now. They're very cool characters, and Calcifer is funny, and the little boy is also funny, but other than a couple quirky lines, you really never get to know them, and you also really never get to know Howl. Howl's a very mysterious character, and that is purposeful. But for being the main character, or the character the movie revolves around, you really learn not much about him, and he doesn't do a lot to get the viewer, at least me, to love him. And I know that what I'm saying right now, a lot of you are actively disagreeing with because you love Howl's Moving Castle, and I congratulate you for that, because I don't love it, but I think it's great. I think this is still a great movie from Hayao Miyazaki, and by no means a bad one. But I think there is definitely better in his arsenal. I watched the English dub this time around. I have to say, the voice acting was very good. The talent they got for the dub cast was very good. Christian Bale as Howl, Billy Crystal as Calcifer. I'm sorry, I don't know any of the girls' names or the little boy, but it was nice to hear those familiar voices, and Billy Crystal especially fits Calcifer's whole character incredibly well, or at least the way Calcifer's dialogue is written. The score is also very good. It is that Joe Hitazashi, or however you say his name. He does the score for almost every Hayao Miyazaki movie, and I gotta say, this movie is no different because it has a gorgeous score. If you haven't heard, you know what, his music is so good that I wouldn't fault you for just listening to a random song of his from a random movie, because he is such a talented composer and music writer. If I had to guess, that's what he does. The animation is gorgeous. I will say, there are some standout, very good animation details in this movie, especially the castle. Every time you get a wide shot of the castle moving along a mountain or running down a hill or whatever, it looks so good. It's all these moving parts, and it's almost 3D. It's like 2.5D. And it just looks really good. All the moving parts and steam, and it looks like one huge living organism, which is really cool. And there are a lot of beautiful moments in this movie. Howl's private study, the lake that they end up at 35-40 minutes into the film. And there are a lot of just iconic moments in this movie just visually. The scene cooking on Calcifer, Howl melting into a goop monster because he's not confident. There are so many little moments, and there's a lot of variation in the animation. There are a lot of very beautiful moments with lots of flowers and peace, and then there are the very horrible, like, hard to watch war scenes where you're watching towns get bombing ran on. I don't know if I have much else to say about Howl's Moving Castle. I know it sounded, at least in the first half, like I was going to be very negative about it, but this is definitely still a great movie. Again, this is an 8 out of 10. I just don't enjoy it as much as I wish I did. When people tell me this is by far their favorite one, I feel so sorry that I can't relate to that. And for those wondering, my favorite Hayao Miyazaki movie probably is between... It's tough because I like all of them, guys, but I think it's probably between Princess Mononoke and Ponyo. I know it's at least aesthetically a very big gap, but I really love Princess Mononoke for its fantastical elements, and I love Ponyo because it's the first one I ever watched. But you're here to hear about Howl's Moving Castle, and I don't have much else to say about it. Again, can you guys tell I love rambling? Yeah, I don't have much else to say about this movie. It is a great movie, and I'm sorry I don't enjoy it more. Definitely worth seeing on the big screen if you still can. But I don't have much else to say. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the theaters.